What's going on, horror fans? Welcome back to my channel. Now, I'm still working on the Tremors franchise review, but I wanted to give you a little treat, a little taste of Halloween, and this is the movie that I start every Halloween season with. It's Trick or Treat. Now, if you're not familiar with Trick or Treat, if you've never seen it, it is a rated R 2007 horror anthology film. Probably what they wanted Halloween 3 to be when it first came out. But it was written and directed by Michael Dougherty, and you're probably familiar with some of his work, for better or worse. But he's a talented man, and I think he does a really good job here, both in the writing and in the directing. The movie stars a bunch of famous names, but most notably Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, Dylan Baker, and Leslie Bibb are probably the most famous people are in this movie. And what we have is 5 individual stories that are sort of woven together and told in a very unique way so that we don't get resolutions on all of them right away. We have reveals, we have twists, we have turns, and it all just works really well. That first viewing is key. So again, if you haven't seen the movie, stop, go watch it, and then come back. What I love about this movie is that it starts off fantastic. If you saw my top 10 horror openings, you know that this one made the list. It's one of my favorite openings of any horror movie, and I really love it. We meet Emma, we meet Henry, coming back from what we can assume are some fun Halloween festivities, and Emma isn't feeling very festive anymore. Doesn't want to keep the decorations up, and she breaks the cardinal sin. She starts to tear down the decorations the night of Halloween, blows out the jack-o'-lantern, and there is Sam watching, and he ain't playing that shit. So we get I get real good Halloween vibes, both the season and the movie, because we watch him from his point of view. You can see through his little sack head, hear him breathing, and he sounds like a little kid. I mean, he looks like a little kid, sounds like a little kid. Normal kids are creepy as shit sometimes, so little undead creepy kids, it works, okay? And we watch him kind of stalk her for a minute. The boyfriend goes up, thinks he's going to get some nook. But we get a nice little jump scare, decent little blood splatter. The kids see it happen, they run away. It works really well. It's not overdone, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just a quick, effective, awesome opening. Big fan. And my favorite of these smaller stories is the one that features Anna Paquin's character, Lori. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And her sister, Danielle, and friends, Janet and Maria, in their quest to find dates to go to this party. And I mean, I didn't see this coming. That's why it works so well for me. This story, and again, we're getting into spoilers right now, so please leave if you haven't seen it. Again, I'm saying it one last time, leave. But the reveal that these girls were werewolves, and the entire time they were just looking for prey to take back to this party, to eventually feast on and pop Lori's cherry. She's a virgin. Did not see it coming, blew me away. I absolutely loved that story. And I love that the principal character, the dipshit Principal Wilkins, and we'll get to him in a minute, he ends up falling prey to them in the end. So I absolutely love all that. Fantastic story. Yeah, we're not really looking for Oscar acting here. The scenes work about as effectively as you'll allow them to, but I think it's fun. I always have a great time watching her feign her terror, and then ultimately we have the reveal. You know, the body drop, the thud. You think it's going to be her character lying there all bloody, and it's the vampire dude. It's Mr. Principal Wilkins. So masterfully done. Love this scene. Love it all. Again, you don't get it in one long story. It's first revealed that there's a vampire character. We don't know who it is. Then he makes a move on her, and we think that she's in trouble. So it's interesting the way they tell the story. It works really well. I love it. Another one of the better stories is the story of the children that were driven off the cliff by the evil bus driver, and now they lay at the bottom of the pit, and you have to go lay the jack-o'-lanterns out to ward off the evil spirits. So This leads into another story where we find out more about the bus driver and his motives. But for now, we'll talk about the story with the children. And you've heard me say it once. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. When children are in peril, things are amplified a little bit. In this scene, I don't know how to describe it other than just it's a bunch of children getting fucking destroyed. Like it's and granted, a couple of them are pretty bad. Like the two girls were kind of assholes, but the boys seem to have some regrets, and they definitely screwed Rhonda. Rhonda's one of my favorite characters in the movie. She's unique, she's quirky, she loves Halloween. She's not afraid to be herself, and she actually is very brave. She has a moment where she steps up and shows that she's not a coward. And these kids are very cruel to her, and in the end, they get their comeuppance. But it's only in a very sick and disturbed and twisted way that you enjoy hearing them scream, because none of them are saved from the eventual downfall. You know, they blow out the jack-o'-lanterns after the prank, and they realize that it's true, it's real. And Rhonda gets the last laugh. She jumps into the elevator at the last minute with all the pumpkins and slowly goes up. And you see the remaining children down below as the zombie children come to them. It's a good scene. It's a really good scene. And when she gets up to the top, and I mean, you can hear the crunching and the bones snapping. And again, we're talking about little children, so it makes you feel some kind of way, even if it is just a movie. Certainly effective. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is that whole story with the kids going down to the quarry. Now, when we first move away from Lori and her sister and her friends, we're introduced to a little boy walking the streets, knocking over pumpkins, and looking like he's just ready for mischief. Of course, you know, we see it all the time. And he sees a giant bowl of candy just there for the picking, so he goes up, he starts to steal it, and here comes Principal Wilkins, his principal, acting creepy as hell, super suspect, acting like a freak. And of course, he drugs the kid. The kid passes out. He starts puking. This is where you get your gross out bits. So if you're into the gross out, this is your moment, because he's puking up a lot of chocolate and disgusting shit. And then you have pure black comedy gold when Principal Wilkins is carrying this large child into his house and he's puking all over him. He's like, oh. I mean, we're watching him carry like a dying child that he is trying to kill into the house. He's struggling. He's getting puked on. I'm kind of chuckling a little bit. It's an interesting moment. But as he's trying to dispose of the body, we're introduced to his asshole neighbor, Mr. Krieg. And there'll be a lot more to Mr. Krieg later, played fantastically by Brian Cox.
Who the hell is that? I got an NRA membership in my pocket. And a shotgun over the fireplace. So get out of here before I...
Mr. Krieg. Stephen Wilkins.
Hey, what in God's name are you doing down there, Wilkins? Huh?
We'll talk about him in a minute, but as he's disposing of this little child's body, his child keeps interrupting and screaming, and they're making this little boy insufferable by design.
We haven't done anything fun together.
How about if we make some caramel apples, just like Grandpa used to? How about that?
When?
After we carve the jack-o'-lantern.
Because we watch Principal Wilkins' patience just start to wane, and finally it breaks, and he walks inside, and he grabs a knife, and you watch him follow his son down to the basement, and he lifts that knife up, and I'm telling you guys, when he brought that thing down, I'm like, okay, we're not above killing kids at this point, so it wouldn't have been too shocking. But you see the little portly boy's head there. They're actually carving it up like a jack-o'-lantern. He's a psychopath. His kid's a psychopath. This is where we find her being jumped by that guy in the vampire suit that we saw earlier taking out that young lady. And he kind of chases Lori around a little bit, finally gets her cornered, makes a move. She screams. All the while, her friends and sister are over just a really close by partying. They hear the scream, and then there's a body dropped right in the middle of them, and you're anticipating the reveal. Oh no, it's Lori's body! But it's not. It's Dylan Baker's body. It's Principal Stephen Wilkins, he's actually the vampire guy posing as a vampire. And he has in fact run into these very real werewolf females. And I tell you what, this is a fun sequence because it's got a little bit of something for everybody. It's got some genuine scares there for a minute. Then you've got beautiful women dancing around, half naked, sometimes fully naked. And then we get some decent transformations. Now, I don't like that they just essentially like rip off their human skin. It's not done bad. I don't like that. I like a transformation. We do get a slight CGI transformation when Anna Paquin transforms before she chomps down on him. So that was pretty cool. Again, really effective story. I love this sub story. The whole Little Red Riding Hood, damsel in distress, turns out she's actually a werewolf. Love it. Fantastic. And the fact that Principal Dipshit, Principal Asshole gets his comeuppance in the end, you know, it's perfect. Perfect story. Love it. And then we end the movie with the most deplorable character in the entire movie, Mr. Krieg. And we haven't even found out the worst part yet. But Sam gets back in the action, and what follows is a more traditional kind of cat and mouse, suspense building, all atmosphere, very Halloween-esque, because they're in his house. You know something's going to happen. The music's building. There's jump scares. There's fake outs. And then finally, Sam emerges and begins to terrorize him. He gets some really good shots in on Mr. Krieg. But we end up seeing what Sam's face looks like. Krieg gets a couple of buckshots in his chest. It looks like he's defeated him, but then Sam comes back and really has him down, ready to lay the kill shot. But he lets him live. He lets him live. You, I guess, think because maybe he learned his lesson. But come to find out, it's because he knows that his comeuppance are on the way. And after a short little scene where Mr. Krieg steps out onto the front porch, looks around, you see Rhonda walking by, you see the 4 teenagers driving by in the car, you see Emma and Henry walking down the street, and then there's Sam watching and kind of giving him a like, you're lucky, you're lucky. And then he turns and hears Emma talking about taking down the decorations, and then there's the beginning of the movie, so off there. But then Mr. Krieg goes to turn to go back into his house, shuts the door, there's another knock immediately, opens the door, and then there's the zombie kid. So he ultimately gets his comeuppance. We don't see it. Kind of pans back to a little comic strip where he shows him getting ripped apart real quick. But a phenomenal ending. Fantastic opening, fantastic ending, and a couple of really, really awesome stories. Some of them are okay, but there are a few that I really, really enjoyed the story. I loved how they were interwoven with one another, and the payoffs, for the most part, work really well. So this is a movie that I can watch every year, every Halloween. I throw it on, again, usually towards the beginning of the month. So I just watched it last night. Love this movie so much. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's damn near a perfect Halloween movie. Give me your opinion. Let me know down below. What do you think of this movie? Have you seen it? Do you like it? What is your favorite story of the 5 that are interwoven in this movie? Comment down below. Let me know what you want to see next. I have to leave town for a little while. Unfortunately, my wife had a death in the family, so we're going to be out of town. I have Tremors franchise coming. I also have the Child's Play franchise coming, but after that, we got plenty of Halloween left, so let me know, what do you want to see? I love you guys. Thank you all so much. Have a great day. Have a great week. I promise when I get back in town, it'll be all systems go, and I'll be pumping out the content again. I'm going to try to post while I'm gone, but I won't be able to put any of the clips over it, so we'll see how well that goes. But maybe I'll do something special while I'm out of town. But anyway, thank you all very much. Have a great day.